edit things, so I don't think we need to worry about that.
And top looks okay?
Yeah, topless is good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I chose something that covered the, as my grandson says, my fat arms.
Oh, thank you, grandson. Well, that's lovely. He would want to meet me.
No, he loves. Well, are we recording now?
Yes, we are, but you're a little bit frozen. I don't know. Is your internet a little wacky?
It usually is okay.
Okay.
I don't usually freeze, so.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll go for it.
Okay.
All right. Great. Well, Roberta, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your experience with your new niece, as it were, with the treatment center at the Boston Stem Cell. So I know that this will be your third time sharing your experience with us, but if you could give a brief overview of what your experience was before coming to the Boston Stem Cell Center and your knee pain.
Okay. My knee pain started when I was in my early 40s, and it followed a ski accident. I, at that time, did have orthoscopic surgery on one knee, and I had my doctor tell me then I already had arthritis in both knees. So the years progressed and I skied with increasing pain using knee braces. But I would say around my mid-50s, so maybe 13, 14 years later, my knees had become cranky to the point where if I was coming home from work, they hurt too much to stop at the grocery store or to pop into a retail store, which shall remain unnamed because I like to shop. And I was really starting to reduce my overall activities because of the increase in knee pain. So I saw a surgeon at that point who told me that I was a candidate for knee replacement in both knees. He said that he would do it at the time if I wanted, but it was up to me, and his bet was by the age of 60, I would have double knee replacement.
Wow. Okay. And then you found the Boston Stem Cell Center and decided to make an appointment and have a consultation with Dr. Pearl.
Yes.
Obviously her advice was that stem cell treatments could help you. So how was getting the stem cell treatments themselves? How was your experience basically at our center?
My experience was really quite positive. I had some intrepidation about the extracting the bone marrow from my hip. I was a little nervous about that, but I did trust Dr. Pearl, and it felt weird, but true to her statement, it was not painful. The whole thing was completed in a day. I was comfortable. I walked out of there with feeling fine. My husband was with me, of course, so he drove the hour and a half back to our home. I remember taking a couple ibuprofen, and my knees were a little stiff that evening, but I woke up without pain the next day and took it pretty easy because I was told I should, but I really felt like I was okay.
Great. Good. Okay. And so that happened, and in the procedure that you got, you had that 1-day treatment, and then 30 days later you had a follow-up 30 days after that, the yes. PRP day 30 and the PRP day 60. And how soon after your, let's just say your second PRP, were you starting to feel any difference?
I was starting to feel a difference by the time I had my second PRP. I started noticing a difference 2 to 3 weeks out. The pain was never worse than before the procedure, which I was told it might be between the shock where your knees get beaten up a little bit and the injections, things get moved around. But I was very fortunate. My pain never rose above the pre-procedure level. And
Great.
by 2 or 3 weeks, it was feeling better.
Great. And you were so gracious to send Dr. Pearl a lovely video of you skiing at the top of a mountain. How soon after day 1, say, was that? Do you remember?
It was either 6 or 7 weeks. I had been chomping at the bit to get back on the slopes because I felt so well. And Dr. Pearl had said a little longer. And so when I was up there, I just felt like I had to reach out and say thank you. She did not ask for that video. Yeah. It was just, I had so much joy and was so happy. I felt like I had to let the folks down there know.
Oh, that's great. So that was 6 to 7 weeks after day one. And so did you continue skiing after
Yes,
that? Yeah.
yes, I continued skiing, and I also had started physical therapy before the procedure, and I continued with my physical therapy. So they got me making sure I was on my stationary bike and I was doing exercises to not only strengthen my core, but also strengthen the muscles that support the knee. And I think that was also an important aspect of my treatment and recovery. I also continued to take the supplements, though not as many as I had been taking before. I cut down the amounts a little bit.
So at the time that we're talking right now on this video, how many months away are you from your initial treatment?
I'm now about 16 or 17 months out from my initial treatment, and I would say that I'm very, very pleased. I walk several miles most days, and I live in Vermont now, so it's hilly. And yeah, there are certain things I can't do. Like if I stop and twist quickly, I'll get some discomfort, but it generally resolves in a day or so. I don't have that ongoing, what I call cranky knee syndrome.
Yeah, cranky knee syndrome. So if I'm counting those months right, this is you've gone through 2 winters with skiing, is that right?
Yes. Yep. And I was skiing again this winter, excuse me, without pain. I do wear knee braces when I ski, but I've been wearing those since I was in my early 40s, since that fateful day that I fell. Um, but yep, skiing is, I tell my husband the hardest part about skiing for me is walking with those dang ski boots on.
Yeah,
Always has been, probably always will be.
there you go.
But yeah, skiing was very good. And in fact, I was teaching one of my grandchildren this year, which is a little bit harder on the knees because you're doing what we used to call the snow plow. They now call it the pizza or the wedge. And there's a lot of pressure on your knees with that particular style of skiing. And yet I was still able to do it without pain. So I was delighted that I could be teaching my grandson how to ski.
Oh, great. Now tell me, what advice would you give somebody that might be considering coming to the Boston Stem Cell Center for any sort of orthopedic pain problem?
Well, I would say it's definitely worth your time to go down and talk to the folks there. I first learned about stem cells in the early 1980s when we really didn't call them stem cells. We just knew that they were plastic or cells that could take on different forms and they resided in our central nervous system. But as time went on and I learned more about it, as a scientist or having a scientific background, I really felt that this was the way to maybe not preserve youth, but put off aging. So it was something I was very, very interested in for a long time. And I was disappointed when I was told it was too late for stem cell replacement therapy. So when I actually ran into a woman who owned a dog food store, and she told me about her experience, which was very positive. And interestingly, she said the one thing she couldn't do was lift a 50-pound bag of dog food and carry it up and down stairs. And I would say that's about my limit. That will give me a little discomfort. I can carry 30 pounds up and down stairs fine, but if I get to about 50, there's a little bit of pressure on the knees and it's uncomfortable. But she had such a positive experience. She said, I beg you, talk to someone about stem cell replacement therapy. She had gone to California for hers, but thankfully I didn't have to go that far. I literally went home that night and started doing more research, and that's when I found Dr. Pearl in your practice.
Great. Well, that's really very, very helpful. You, with your extensive background and all that research that you did. So thank you so, so much for once again checking in and sharing your positive experience. And I'm so glad. And I hope you enjoy getting out there and enjoying the weather.
Yes, it's a great day, and I've promised my puppy a 4-mile walk today.
All right, good. All right, take care. Thank you again.
Bye-bye. Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Are we off recording?